let's go over this. This is Raja Yoga class number 1. I email out the schedule to everybody in a little bit. Later on today, I guess. The most important thing about Raja Yoga and understanding the 8 limbs of yoga, and we're going to concentrate on the first 2 over the next week or so, is yama and niyama. Right? Yama meaning control. Niyama is observance of mystical and religious rites. And we're going to talk about why. And this essentially tell you why you want to do this. We have to come back. Remember I told you that the mystic constitution of man is contained in everything, in all your teachings. And if you understand that, you can understand the deeper teachings. Well, we have an aura. And that aura that we have is, that aura we have is really, is more real or more vital than the physical body in a sense, because it's the background for the physical body. The physical body thrive or feed off of our aura. Okay? In fact, all our bodies feed off the aura's body. So this is one of the things that we need to understand in trying to bring about Raja Yoga, the development of Raja Yoga, the Raja Yoga techniques. Okay, so in doing this, I set up this diagram to kind of show you. Here you have your physical body, and then you have an aura around your physical body. And on the vellus level of that aura, you have, it's real jagged and active. That's the part of your aura that is the, what we call the virites, and what Patanjali in his commentary on the sutras stated that you must stop those modifications. And the modifications is these virites, or this wavy type action that go on the outside of your aura. We can look at this and we can say that this, can you see this? Number 3 is the conscious mind. That's where all this modification happened, right? That's the vellus level of the aura. In fact, all your thoughts, all your actions originate at that level of your mind. And you got to look at the aura is your mental body. It's not necessarily your brain. The brain is only a transmitting instrument. The aura itself, within the aura is the mental body. And that mental body makes up your personality, all your sensory perception, all of that. That's your mental body. That's your conscious mind. So what we want to do here, you see that right within the aura is mostly your subconscious mind, the inner layers of your aura that actually take care of function, right? And the innermost part of your aura is your superconscious mind, where the superconscious activity take place. So in studying the Raja Yoga, one of the things that you want to bring about is control over those modifications, over this jagged. You want to bring a calmness about, and that's your goal. You want to bring about that calmness. wanna iron out these waves. And that's the goal that you're looking to do. Like I said, this is called, these waves are called the vrittis. Yeah, the activities within the mental bodies of the aura. It's made up of all the sensory perception, input and output. It's the unfocused mind. That's what bringing about, that unfocused mind. Right? It's the untamed mind, the part of the mind that craves exterior stimuli. And that's a main problem that we have, because we have our sensory perception, and one of our goals is to experience life, but we tend to experience life through what? Through our sensory perception. Okay? Through, we tune into everything that's going on outside, and we don't tune into things that's going on inside. And that's what that's what we fail at. It is part of the mind that the Maharishi Patanjali referred to when he said, stop the modifications of mind. When you even out these waves or calm the waves, you can clearly see through the mental body. You can clearly communicate with the inner you. Okay, that's what you want to do. You can clearly communicate with the inner you. Now, you notice we have the I'm showing here the main major chakras along the spine. The reason why I'm showing you that is that the chakras serve to output the mental thought forms. Every thought form that you have, it originates from one of your major chakras. Okay? The vortex center of these power chakras manifest organized thought forms, which spills out into the aura, where it circulates until it's ready to achieve the direct purpose or fall totally into a samskara state. Okay? All of these little blue things are the samskaras that's waiting for the right energy or energy level or mind situation in order to express itself again. Lashana, you had a question?
You just how to clear out those what do you call them?
The vrittis. Mm-hmm. We're going to get into that. That's one thing we're going to go into.
So the samskaras are the little blue
yes.
impressions?
Yes.
And the vrittis are what?
The jagged edges here. Okay.
Aren't they one and the same to some extent? The jagged edges and the samskaras to a certain extent?
Well, the jagged edges help produce the samskaras. All of this is nothing but the earth body. But we have to break it up in order for you to begin to understand it. Okay?
And if you were to be able to cite it,
a dog spot. Yeah. You just need a wave. You have to concentrate on it and tap into it in order to see it as an image. But a lot of this is, like when you see someone aura, you may see colors floating like a cloud, and this energy formation. But it's not until you tap into that you actually see something. You may see something come out when you focus in on it to see it on a different level. You know, everything has multiple levels. You know, it's just like,
The atmosphere.
yeah, it's like if you in a shuttlecraft and looking down to the earth, everything look green, blue, and brown, right? And you might see shiny objects shining up, right? But the more you descend, the more it takes shape. And what is that? You're looking at the different levels of the same image until you come down and you can see it clearly for what it is. You know, it's the same thing with certain bacteria or tiny little bugs or whatever. You know, they look like monsters when you magnify them so many hundreds of times, thousands of times. But from my point of view, they just look like a dot, you know? So it's the same thing when you're looking inside the aura psychically. It may look cloudy, energy formation, but when you go into it, you can see what messages it's carrying. Okay? So this is just to show you that these are the entry and exit points of those manifested thought forms, right? To come back to, I know I went over this. These are what? Everybody remember? Everybody remember what these are?
The gunas?
Huh?
The passions.
The impurity traits. Remember? That's normally lodged in these areas of in the three lower chakra areas. Okay, so those are the things that we produce over time, over many incarnations. Mankind have produced those type of impurity traits from our own thought and actions. So these are the things that help produce what? Anybody? You know, those impurity traits are the things that help produce the virites and the samskaras. So these are the things that we need to get rid of.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Psychically, you said some scars, they look like these little blobs. So like if you have a very deep samskara, like a very bad event that happened, would it be bigger?
No, you misunderstood what I was saying. I said they could look like that. They could also, you know, they could have many different. It's just the level of sight that you're looking at it. You know, it depends on your level of psychic ability. You understand? In other words, what I was saying when I was giving a description of a shuttlecraft versus an airplane versus on the top of a building, you know, your perception is stronger, you know, from one to the next. So that's what I was saying. And some people it may appear as a dot or a wavy line or a cloud or whatever, and because that's the level of their psychic ability. But the next person, they may begin to see images. And then the next person, they may clearly see exactly what's being transmitted in that wave. You know, it's dependent on their strength and their level to tune into that into that aura. Okay? Just like some people, they don't see color in the aura. They just see light. Or they may see grays, or you know, they may see gray, white, or clear light. But they sense a color. You know. So it depends on that person's ability, yeah.
So when we're chanting mantra and it causes the aura to spin, is it the friction that we're feeling, is that the layers of the aura rubbing against each other.
Yeah, it's like the molecules of the aura rubbing against each other.
So would that be, for that diagram, like say the conscious mind rubbing against the subconscious mind levels, or?
It can be. It's probably a combination of both.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a combination of both.
So it's that. So when the samskara is burnt up by mantra,
Mhm.
that's what's burning it. That spinning of the levels of mind.
Yeah. That's one of the things that help burn it up or throw it off. That spinning of the aura. Okay?
Now, if it's a deep-seated samskara from like some emotional issue, does burning up that samskara release that emotion? Like, do you relive that incident, or is it's just completely cast off and you don't have to go through that
Depends.
experience?
Every samskara depends on its own strength, ability, or whatever. It all depends on it. It depends on your karma more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's you know, did you chant the mantra or harness enough energy to burn it up, to not to repeat that, or did you replace enough samskaras with the mantra in the aura to balance that off? Remember what I was telling you all about balancing off things? Huh? You remember that?
I mean, the actions it takes to correct wrong
In
action.
other words, if I had a scale here, right, and this scale tilted this way, and it was bad, right, bad energy, right, and I had less good energy, right, what do I want to do?
Increase the good or decrease.
Huh?
Increase good or decrease bad, or both.
Yeah, I wanna increase, right? The good in order to get rid of the bad. So in other words, if we looking at the samskaras, you know, because of this bad energy, we have a plus. We have an increased negative samskaras, right? So when you chanting the mantra, this is the only thing, it's just a mathematical thing.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it like that. You gotta be cold and just emotional, you know. You chanting the mantra in order to do what? In order to increase the good, right? Making this fall down here and this go up, right? In a sense, because the more this go up, the more you subtract from here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the weight of it that's making it come down. So you want to increase. So what you're doing, you're replacing the samskaras in your aura with holy megabytes of sound energy, you know, with the name of God in your aura, you know, therefore certain negative samskaras cannot stay in the presence of the aura, of those megabytes of energy. So you either depress them or throw them off, one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why that works. See? Because a samskara comes about by the environment that you create to allow that samskara to manifest itself. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, if you increase, if you have a daily increase of mantra, prayer, and just doing all the right things, what's that gonna do? You're gonna write positive samskaras, right? Let's say, yeah. You're gonna write positive samskaras on your what?
In your aura.
On your aura. So that's what mantra is about. Or prayer, you know. So that's what you're doing. You're replacing, and because the aura the samskaras have an effect on the chakras. The samskaras have an effect on the chakras. What happens is that you activate the chakras in a way that makes the aura spin quicker and faster than anything else you're doing. And when it does that, it throws off the negative samskaras, and those negative samskaras are replaced with the good action of prayer, mantra, or whatever. You know, it's the same thing in your life. If the yama in the first level of the 8 limbs of yoga, if you follow the actions where you bring about control over your life, that's what you're doing. You're replacing the negative samskaras that could have propped up and manifest themselves in your life. You're replacing them with what? With good samskaras. You're banking good energy. You're banking good energy so that in the future you have a good reaction. Okay? Or in the present you have a good reaction. And that's what you're doing. There's no magic. It's just, well, it is magic because all actions are magic, but it's no mysterious magic in a sense. Only thing you're doing is just taking bad and replacing it with good. That's what you're doing. Okay, and that's the action. That's why you want to use mantra and prayer and all those positive things in order to build up the positive energy within your aura. Okay, that's what you want to do.
What is yama?
Huh?
What is yama?
Control.
Sanyama?
Yama.
Yama means control.
Control. Restraint.
Niyama's restraint. Come on.
Okay? So in here, we talk about the aura, the auric body. The auric body is the original manifested subtle subtle body of the soul, created by the soul to allow it to gain experience in multiple levels of limited states of consciousness through countless reincarnations. Everybody can understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The mental body is a series of auric fields that make up the configuration flow of positive and negative subtle energies coming together to produce various levels of consciousness. The soul uses these mental fields as vehicles of consciousness. It extends from the base chakra. The 3 main levels of consciousness are. Okay, and then we have the superconscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the conscious mind. The superconscious mind is the higher level of consciousness where inspiration, intuition, pure spiritual knowledge, a solid quality of mind flow from. At this level, the mind, the intelligence is self-aware of soul and spirit, and therefore operates strictly according to the laws of karma or God. It is the conscious realms of the adepts and masters. Okay? The subconscious mind, this level of consciousness takes care of all involuntary functions. It measures every drop of blood, breath, thoughts, sound, and action in according to the karmic pressure being imposed on you. This level of mind also stores the memory of all thoughts and actions made by us. At this level of mind also realizes that it is a part of a whole, and it is manifested for the specific duties and functions to benefit the evolutionary journey of the soul. Okay? So the subconscious mind is like a devic laboratory. it never strays from the law of karma. Well, nothing can. But in other words, it tried to work according to the law of karma and making sure everything is balanced. Okay? The conscious mind, the level of conscious mind is the basic mental level of mind that perceives the world through the sense organs and sensory perception of the physical body and the emotional, mental body. This level has as most basic level is the most basic level of self-awareness and self-consciousness. The level of consciousness is plagued with all manners of mental cycles, because of our false knowledge obtained through the limited sensory perception. Psychosis. Okay? So that's one of the main problems with the conscious mind, because it perceives everything through what?
Senses.
The senses, the sense organs and the senses. So therefore, it's only doing what? We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? Huh?
What do you mean? I understand what you mean, but what it's only doing.
If it's false knowledge that is gaining, that means it's only seeing what?
An illusion.
An illusion. Because why? We know that if we look at something, right? Everything exists in what?
7 dimensions.
We don't, let's not even go to the mystic side. Let's stay just on the pure physical side, right? You have the spectrum. Let's look at the spectrum, right? Everything exists within the electronic magnetic spectrum, right? So when we're looking at something, there's many levels of the electronic magnetic spectrum, right? So we might see it because we're using our sensory organs, we might only see this section of it. The rest of this is invisible to us.
Is that like dimensions?
No, it's not dimensions. It's just it's like what?
A radio.
A radio. You tune into a radio and you can only hear one channel at a time, right? You can't see it. Or you tune into the television and you can only see one television channel at a time. You can't perceive the 2 television channels at the same time. Now they have it where you can see one and then you can have another one in a little box over there, but you can't hear it. You can only see it. But this is the problem with our senses. And in Raja Yoga, they teach us to turn the senses off and dwell within what?
Silence.
Silence or the mental body. Okay? Because within the mental body, you are not limited by what? Nobody.
By the sense organs.
Huh?
You're not limited by the sense organs.
By the sense
perception.
organs. Because why? What is mind?
Pervasive. It's all pervasive.
Mind is all pervasive. It's everywhere. Okay? So that's one of the reasons you want to be able to turn those sense organs and sensory perception of the sense organs off and on at will and dwell within the mental body. Okay? And dwell within the auric body, really, because the auric body is the body of the soul.
So by turning off the basic senses that we use, touch, smell, sight, by turning those off, you can activate the higher senses?
Well, one of the things, the first things you realize that it is not you. It's only a tool that you use.
The body's a tool.
Yeah, the body's a tool, the senses of the body is a tool. You know, so you begin, once you come to that understanding, what happens? You gain power over it. See? I mean, and this is the, you know, it's just another strategic tool that we use, and we use it everywhere. Knowledge brings power. One of the things they did in other countries when they had a problem with overpopulation, they found a segment of population to do what? To educate them. That population, that segment of population they went to go educate was young women. They went and educated the young girls, right, of those countries, and guess what? The population began to stabilize. Because the more educated those young girls were, the less kids they had. Because why? Because the knowledge gave them power over their lives. So therefore, they didn't rush and go get married and have someone's baby. They prepared themselves for life, which took time, which pushed having kids off to a later time, and then also it limit how many kids they can have because of that. So the population boom went away. They began to stabilize, and that's in many cases. When unfortunate too, when other countries who want to demean lower countries or less technological countries, what do? They go into the universities, and they begin to influence the young people in order to help bring about change in that country, in order to bring about that level of discussion or disagreement with government. So the knowledge of something brings about control in people's lives and brings about the ability to change things. So what you want to do? You want to realize that your sensory and the Raja Yoga, you want to realize that what they call sense organs and sensory perception limits your knowledge on things. And you want to be able to step outside of that box and be able to use the full capacity of your mental body, your mental and auric body. And that's what Raja Yoga prepares you for. Okay?
That's as far as it goes.
Just take a look. Can everyone see that?
Mm-hmm.
Is it better or worse?
Because
Blue?
I think it was better when it was brighter.
Better or better?
Now, without going too deep into the whole mechanics of this, I want you to focus on the fact, of course, we know that the Nadis, within the Nadic system of the body, we have, it carries the Kundalini power through the body, and when it carries Kundalini power through the body, it moves through 242,000 pathways of Nadis in order to get to this point. When it gets up to, when it comes through the Sushumna line disappeared. All the lines disappeared. When it comes through the Nadis come through and it terminates at the Christ chakra. Yeah, that's good. It comes through and terminates at the Christ chakra. It produces sight, hearing, smell, taste, speech, all of these things. It produces those five senses for the physical body, for the physical and astral bodies. So these, this diagram just shows you this sensory perception, how the sense organs and the sense perception, how these nadis bring about this. And if any one of you study any type of mechanics or physics or whatever, you'll notice that energy and motion creates things. So the ancient yogis, in showing this, they wasn't too far off, right? Because if you want to produce something, then what do? You accelerate energy, through some type of conduit or some type of matter or whatever, and you mold it and shape it into what you want. And that's what the soul did in pulling this energy down through Sushumna, taking it down to the Muladhara chakra, the base chakra, and pushing it back up into 242,000 pathways, creating this matrix of motion and energy, producing the mental bodies, the different layers of the auric body, and eventually producing the etheric body, the astral body, and then down to the physical body. And it's life itself. So they wasn't too far off in the same science that we use today in order to compress and bring about motion or energy in anything we do, whether it's a cup, a chair, a building, or a car. Same science is being used. Same science is being used. So it's just to show you that your body is a tool for the soul, and that this is how it's brought about. And these sense organs are only tools; they're not you. So I mean, you can manipulate this through pranayama, through mental commands, and through asanas, through motion, which we're going to get into later on in this course. Okay, and we'll come back to this and we'll talk about the significance of all of this. Okay, so not to go into that too much. This is these are the 10 senses. It's not 5 senses, it's 10 senses that we need to actually concern ourselves with. Everybody can see that?
I can't read that.
Huh?
I can't read that.
It's too small. Well, let's just go over it. It's the yogi 10 senses, the table that yogi look at. The nose, these are the sense organs. The nose, the tongue, the eyes, the skin, the ears, and and they produce, of course, the nose produce the smell, the tongue produce taste, right? The eyes produce sight, the skin produce touch, the ears produce hearing. But they add 10 more senses, feet, which brings about movement. Anus, we know what that brings about. And brings about excretion. Genitals brings about generation or procreation. The hands, grasping, and voice, speech. So those are the other 10 sense organs, senses that the yogis name, right? And these, and this is the thing that these are the tools that we use in order to communicate and exist here on the physical and astral and mental worlds. Okay? I go a little bit more to this. This is for your gratification. You can go and read that and study that a little bit more.
Astrology?
Huh?
Do you have senses in astrology?
Of course. Of course they do.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If your eyes, the physical vision, your physical eyes are impaired, would that hold back the psychic development of psychic vision?
I don't think so. I mean, that's a limitation that you have to deal with. But I don't think it will. I don't think it will.
I've heard stories of people who've had, blind people who've had near-death experience or projecting,
Yeah.
and they can see perfectly
They can see
clear once they're out.
perfectly. The same way with people who have impaired, they can't walk. You know, I have a sister that she was in a car accident and she partially severed her spine, and she can't walk. But she told me that in her astral body, she walked, fly, do whatever she wanted to do. So,
People who
and
are
she had,
amputated. People who are amputated too.
Yeah.
You can kind of still feel their
Yeah.
astral mind.
So no, so I don't think so.
That's what she was dead.
Yeah.
That's me, when I went there to see back, when I was told by my cousin about the accident, I drove over there and when I got over there, they had her already put away to be taken to the morgue. And her son too. And when he came out first, he looked at me and said, "What? No. And I got out. When I got out of my car, I walked over to him and said, "Wait a minute." He said, I said, what y'all doing? He said, "We're taking her to the morgue." She did the Sarah. Who was that? And I told myself, my sister. Whole minute was dead, and then the two grandkids were dead. Well, I can believe that she was gone, because I didn't see her gone.
Okay, let's look at this. I think I gave this to you all before. Right?
Yeah, that's something.
Just to show you one of the things in the first freedom of the 9 freedoms, they talk about bravery, how bravery dispels fear. How bravery is the mental energy configured to dispel negative accumulated mental energies from the auric fields. You'll see that a lot of negative mental energy build up in the lower channels, right? The lower part of the body. And bravery, how bravery destroys, because with bravery you need what? incorporate it? What do you need? Anyone?
Knowledge.
Huh?
Knowledge.
Knowledge. Once you have the right knowledge of something, then you no longer what? Fear it, right? And it takes the mystery out of things. So now you can go into it and you can operate, you can move it around, you can do whatever you need to do with it without, because you have the knowledge of how it operates. So the ignorance and illusion and fear goes away, right? And then it promotes the auric cleansing and it brings about clear perception. Okay? So I gave you back this so you can go back and study this and then go back to the 9 freedoms and look over that and study that chapter under that light. Okay? The next one is the next printout I gave you is something from Sivananda's book, which in this course I'm going to refer back to this a lot. It's called The Mind, Its Mysteries and Control.
Can you show it again?
All right? Huh?
Can you show it again?
It's this one. It's online too. I mean, it's on our website. All right?
Okay.
It's really a Raja Yoga book too, but he just did it on mine. I'll be referring back and forth to this book, to the Raja Yoga book by Sivananda, and the Mind and Mysteries of Sivananda, and also once in a while the Swami Vivekananda. And I don't know if I have this book online, but I will put it online. All right. Now, like I said, with Sivananda, he's straightforward, and he goes right at you. And everybody have this? Somebody want to read it?
Some guidelines in mind control by Swami Shivananda. Mind is so framed that it runs to extremes. Through sadhana or spiritual practice, it should be brought to a balanced state, samadhi. It is one-sided by its very nature. It is through mental drill or training that integral development must be achieved. Make a vigorous and earnest search within. Do not trust the mind and the indriyas. They are your enemies. Woman and wealth are your bitter foes. These are 2 great evils. Mind.
They have a soul too. You shouldn't say that.
Shivananda, so.
Mind
argue with him.
exercises its sovereignty over man through the force of attachment, craving, samskara, and vasanas, tendency, latent desire, will to possess and enjoy, world desire. It does various tricks. When you once know its way, it lurks like a thief. It will no longer trouble you. In controlling the mind, you have to do 7 things. Number 1, you must get rid of all desires, vasanas, subliminal traits within the mind, and trishnas, thirst for addictive or negative things in life. Number 2, you must control your emotions. You must control the temper so that you may feel no anger or impatience. Number 3, you must control the mind itself so that the thought may always be calm and unruffled. Number 4, you must control the nerves through the mind so that they may be as little irritable as possible. Number 5, you must give up abhimana, pride. Abhimana strengthens the mind. It is the seed of the mind. When you have become a nirabhimani, how can criticisms, taunts, and censure affect you? Number 6, you must destroy all attachments ruthlessly. And number 7, you must give up all hopes and prejudices. The following will bring you peace of mind undoubtedly. Number 1, avoid the company of evil persons. Number 2, live alone. Number 3, reduce your wants. Number 4, do not argue. Arguing creates sense of hostility. It is a sheer waste of energy. Number 5, do not compare yourself with others. Number 6, do not lend your ears for public criticism. And number 7, give up the idea of name and fame. According to Patanjali, Maharishi, Maitreyi, friendship between equals, karuna, mercy towards inferiors, and mudita, complacency towards superiors, upeksha, indifference towards rogues, will bring about chitta prasada, or peace of mind. You should, through your higher sattvic mind, avoid the mind which runs in the direction of objects and, progressing higher up, should, without any despondency of heart, accumulate wealth of tapasya for acquiring that imperishable supreme seat, Paramapada. Like an emperor who brings under his sway all kings on earth, the fluctuating mind should be brought under the perfect control of the non-fluctuating mind, and then the latter reaches its own state, which is the supreme one.
So I think it's really, it's self-explanatory, don't you think? Huh?
Straightforward.
In all due respect to women, I think he's talking to men. Men looking at women in the wrong way. Not that women is the cause of anything. He's talking about a man looking at a woman with lustful eyes. You know, so you know the act, not the woman. He's not saying that.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with wealth. Either.
Huh?
Nothing wrong with wealth.
Well, the same thing. Wealth through the eyes of a greedy man. You know, wealth through the eyes of a greedy man. So that's what he's, you know, he's talking to an audience who have not, they have not accepted a pure spiritual life or way of life. So they're still seeking to be with multiple women and to have wealth and all those things. But yet they want to learn this knowledge. So that's what he's, in my opinion, that's what he's doing there. So it's just, you know, these are aspects of controlling. This is yama again. All right, and by doing these things, you do what? You know, you calm the mind. You know, you bring about those things, and also he's talking to someone who wants to be a renunciate too. So, you know, to a certain extent, he say live alone.
Yeah, I was looking at that one.
So he's talking to somebody who wants to be a renunciate. So, but still, it's still good. So you can understand these things that is the activity with the wrong people that helps bring about these modifications. You know, so you want to limit the number of modifications that take place in your aura. You know, so if you live around the right people, then you won't have that.
Isn't there a quote that says that if you want to know how someone is like, look at their friends, something like that?
I don't know if that's true. You know, I mean, sometimes people have friends because those friends need them. You know, so I mean, if that's the case, you could say look at the person's family too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if that's so. At least I don't think it is. Because you sometimes you have to place yourself, if that's your mission to help people, you have to place yourself among people that's not the best people, but it's your job to help them. So but in helping them, they become your friends. You know. So that's I don't know. I wouldn't use that because you'll be moving to a point where you're judging people and you becoming critical of some of the things he said here. You know, do not lend your ears for public criticism.
The Master Jesus kept company with everyone.
Yeah. In fact, he said his mission here was to earth, was to go among the most wretched. According to the Bible, he was here to go among, the sinners. He didn't come for the righteous. He said he came for the sinners. So. So I guess that's it for today. If there's any questions, I'll answer them.
We have to think you was another scout, how motion creates things.
Hmm?
I was taught like in my classes that supernova, like when a galaxy blasts,
Mm-hmm.
and among that, from the collision, new stars are formed.
That the motion created everything. Yeah. It's
What do you
energy.
think?
It's energy and motion that creates life. That creates everything. That makes it possible for everything to manifest itself.
How do you think everything started?
Huh?
How do you think everything started? Like science theories, they have different theories like Big Bang.
I can't hear you. What you say?
How do you think everything originated?
How do I think?
Everything began. How do you think everything was created?
I think I said that hundreds of maybe thousands of times. It was I think the absolute created. I believe in the Hindu text and the Buddhists and even the Christians, where the absolute spoke the word, where God spoke the word, or the word was spoken. From that point of all knowledge space, which is the absolute. And from there, motion, energy moved into place. It manifested itself and it began to it kept manifesting itself until it created all forms of life. Which is similar to the Big Bang. I mean, the Big Bang theory, all of that came from, only thing, in my opinion, only thing they did was studied Hinduism.
Experiments, yeah.
Yeah, they just studied because Hinduism said that the absolute spoke the word Vak, and from there creation came about. The only thing they did, they took the word absolute out of it and just to try to describe it without saying God.
First what was?
You know. Huh? They put, but the Hindus said it was like an explosion. Because even today, when we get deep into the Raja Yoga, you'll see where every thought you have, every action you make is an explosion, within the atmosphere of your auric body and the atmosphere around. That's what thoughts are. Thoughts are manifested through some type of explosion. And you have a thought. You have a thought, and then the energy of that thought produce movement. But it's an explosion of energy first, and then it gets sucked back into your auric fields, and then it makes you move. I mean, the only thing they did was just stole those teachings and just reworded it in another way. But they had to study the teachings of the old in order to come up with those theories, in my opinion, because those teachings was there way before science. You know, Big Bang Theory was there. You know. Let's go ahead and close out with a prayer if there's no more questions.